Wow, Fusco, what an amazing rendition you did.
That was. I am so good. I have improved a lot since last week, haven't I?
Hello, everyone.
That's a new tune that I created. It's called. You guys will hear this on a recording, but and out there live. But it's called. I believe I called it "Welcome to 2021."
Oh, there you go. So does it end with just It ends with 12 months of low G.
Yeah, I kind of figured I had those moments in late at night on the low G side, babes. Let me tell you, it hasn't been a dull moment, brothers.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chan Rant Podcast. With me, as always, is my bearded co-host, Mr. Andy Fusco.
That's me.
And if you didn't know, I am here to let you know that we'll be using some inappropriate language today, so you have 5 seconds to listen to something else. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck!
Fuck's sake.
Listeners
go for my channel.
So far, so good with Seumas. Listeners can review the show on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, whatever you listen to your podcast. You can send us emails and voicemails to be played on air. You can like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or if you're Australian, Snapchat, or Fusco's OnlyFans.
Perfect place to
which
go.
Which is hopefully coming out soon. We need the additional revenue stream. And check out the Chan Rant store at chanrant.com. This episode brought to you by our patrons, the wonderful people who usually pay to watch this, while you all cheap fucks are watching it for free for March.
You lucky bastards.
You lucky dogs. So if you are interested in this, become a patron at patreon.com/chanrant. $5 a month, one stream a week, plus behind-the-scenes shenanigans and discounts on merch. Last but not least, invite and share with your friends, Mr. Andy Fusco.
It's not my open, I swear.
No, it's even.
Not.
I know it is. You know what?
I
what
love the
really?
opener, Josh, good job, babe. Don't hold back. Yeah, people.
Thanks,
pay.
man.
Just pay.
Just pay.
You.
Just get in there. You know what really funkies my cool Medina?
What's that, Josh?
How long it's been since I've seen our good friend Mr. Seumas Coyne, who is our guest today.
I know it's been years, and it's way too long. Way too long.
Way too long to see my brother from another mother.
Beautiful boys. Thank you. Very kind words.
How you doing, bro?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Hanging in there pretty well.
Good. So we're gonna. So the way this usually, Seumas, you've never really heard our show, correct?
I heard bits and pieces of it, but not the whole show. No.
Just the legends.
He's probably heard of us.
Yeah. People have said, "Oh
yeah,
my gosh."
I've heard the good stuff. The stuff that a lot of people shouldn't hear is the stuff I hear.
Okay,
so
good.
let's leave it there.
Good. Yeah, we have a lot of enemies out there, but that's okay. So do you, and that's what we're gonna get into today. But the idea of what we're gonna do for the next, I don't know, 10 minutes is go over some news and notes.
We got
emails.
some housekeeping shit to do real quick, and then most of the day is just going to be us shooting the shit.
Yeah, shooting shit with you, talking a little bit about your past, maybe your future. I don't know if they're, we'll see where that goes.
Man.
But that's
well. So far, I'm alive, so the future holds pretty good, guys. So far, so good.
It's always a plus. Yeah, for sure. So real quick, I just want to say that Free March continues. Obviously, we have the wonderful Seumas Coyne today. What's next week? Callum
is next week,
and then Ross. I think closes us out, right?
Correct.
Wow, we're doing some goodies. Callum Beaumont, I take it, or
Callum
Beaumont,
yes.
Callum Beaumont and Ross Miller are the last two for Free March. Yep. So everyone gets to tune in for those, and then we're back to closing the pay gate on all of you.
I just want to say, Big Rab
is like 2 weeks ahead of this.
2 weeks ahead of everything, except he does not have Seumas Coyne. And I tell you what.
I feel like we've done better.
We won.
We've definitely won.
We won the podcast games.
You guys are true gentlemen. Yes. He could reach out, but he probably knows I'm way too busy to do other things. But yes, I do have a moment for him. But thank you, two gentlemen.
Thanks.
I'm excited. And, I'm excited for when we have Ross on. I won't hang up on him this time, I promise.
No. I tell you what, I'm excited to talk to Callum because I guarantee you the things I'm going to get into have nothing to do with his
little sales pitch.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of good things that the good man's doing because I stay in touch with him quite a lot. We're very, very tight. So it's like the brotherhood.
Probably won't be a 30-minute sales pitch for the bagpipecoach.com.
No, I don't think it will.
That's not going to happen.
A lot of good things.
What we should do?
He'd be right through the roll with the punches.
We'll ask a question, let him go into it, and then just keep interrupting him. Just not let him get into it.
No ad reads unless it's our ad reads. But yeah, speaking of ads, we mentioned Patreon at the beginning. You should do it. One of our patrons has written us an email regarding, which episode was this? I think this was a while back because he's referring to us calling Mark Zuckerberg a cunt on the show.
Which I don't remember, but
it was a while ago. I think it was like maybe 153.
Wow.
So he says, Afternoon, you testicle
153 and a
tickling
half.
fucktards. Let's get this one started. First of all, how dare you call Mark Zuckerberg a cunt in episode 153, Palming Fusco's Balls? I find this completely unacceptable. I have worked my ass off to be known as a cunt, and you guys take it upon yourselves to add him to the prestigious cunt club just because he came up with a social media platform when he doesn't like something. Is this like a kid saying... Sorry, I can barely read this thing because it's so small. Is this like a kid saying, I'm taking the ball home as he bans my fellow cunts? I would like to reiterate that Zuckerberg is not good enough to join myself and the other fellow cunts. He can be placed in the twat waffle category. Next rant. If Doogie replied to email...
Should this be free?
Email at all.
Yeah,
he would have signed up to the Piper's Dojo. He sends me emails, but when I send him one back, it's like trying to plate piss getting a reply. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
New ad read for Dojo. Do you want to know what it's like for something to suck less but don't want to get married?
Josh, I think it's more on the piss side than the plate side, so it's far more the piss side.
Probably more the piss side. If you answered yes, then sign up to the Dojo's $1 premium test drive. Hashtag bring back Fast Eddie. Hashtag bring back Cahill's Corner. Hashtag 1 of the 6. Hashtag FU Joe Brady. Hashtag Rabby the Pooh. Until next time, kind regards, Stefan.
Wow.
A lot to unpack there.
I don't remember any of this, so I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Except that I like the part where in his email to us, he included an ad read.
An ad read. So I can just cross that off the list. I don't have to do it.
Go to chinnerant.com/suckless and you can join the Piper's Dojo.
Yeah, $1 premium test drive, man. Yeah, I like the... Okay, fine. So we will officially move Zuckerberg at Stefan's request from the cunt category to the twat waffle category.
Perfect.
I think that's fair.
Josh, you're such a gentleman. You actually do appease the customers well, very nicely. Well done.
We do customer service at Chinnerant Podcasts like none other.
You do customer
In
service,
fact,
and I service
service
the customers.
Fusco's serviced a few of them.
Yeah.
Hey, being really mildly famous has served me well.
Yeah, you've certainly... the days of me not taking you seriously have come to a middle. I would say. You fucked your way into like the first 15 percentile. Speaking of the first 15 percentile, Discord, baby.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
We should bring this up with Callum. Who do you think gets more tail, Callum Beaumont or me? Single Callum Beaumont, now that he's single.
110% you.
I would bet on me too.
Yeah, because you got to keep in mind, like...
He's been engaged for 2 years.
You basically have any port in a storm tattooed on your back. Like...
That's my
Andy,
next
I don't
tattoo.
think I'm a good touch you, babe. You got the style and you got the beard going for you.
Beard
so
as
you're
well
all
is all
man.
about.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell
you're-
Callum.
You're ahead just based on that, brother.
I'm going to tell Callum, grow a beard, bro.
Grow a beard. If you're trying to crush.
Greatest piper, arguably one of the greatest pipers in the world, and you had a beard,
Yeah,
you'd be swimming in it, bro.
that's true. It's so painfully true.
Oh, Jesus.
I had to
yeah.
I had to do sunglasses just so I had a thing.
Right.
Yeah. So people were like, oh, like which one's Fusco? Oh, he's the guy with the beard. Which one's Josh? Oh, he's the guy with the sunglasses.
Josh is actually...
He's the behemoth with the shades.
Usually Josh
you're
is
the clean
described
cut
as...
boy. You're the clean cut guy.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
In my experience, Josh is usually described as, the other one.
Yeah. The one that doesn't play as much.
Right. But we're going to get into that because Seumas was a significant influence to my piping, which is amazing. And we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I have here is plug the store. New merch coming one day. Oh, I realized today we never posted the bikini pictures.
Well, we never got final Well, did we get final
did.
pictures?
Yeah, they needed a little bit of editing.
Right. We
But,
definitely need to post
We need
those.
to post those. If for nothing else, just Instagram fodder.
Like our friends went through the trouble of doing it.
Well, we never got...
We never got Eric's.
We never got Eric's.
Not officially. We got
Yeah.
a test
Yeah,
Boy,
shot.
you know what, guys? It just sucks being you two.
It's rough,
geez,
man.
So just let me get the violin out of for sympathy. There's no
Hey,
sympathy. You guys have got this down.
You would
pretty
just
good.
think that when you
Excuse
send
me.
free Chanarant bikinis to your hot friends to model, that they would, turn it around.
She did it.
Yeah, well,
Our
she
hot
did
friend
it.
did
Yeah,
it.
The hot friend did it. The
other guy didn't.
The large male that we asked to model him did not yet.
We can get him to do it. I'll
Dude,
just send him another shirt. I've
gonna
sent him
be
like
so
17 shirts. I can't believe he's not doing it yet.
Yeah. And then speaking of the dojo, Fusco, I don't know if you saw this today, but the first episode of Josh and Brad Beat the Dojo launched today.
I noticed that it existed. I have not watched it. But what was that?
Well, okay, so this is taking place over on Plug, my YouTube
Josh's-
channel.
Okay. Which is what?
Josh Plays Pipes
Okay.
on YouTube. And
That's ironic.
So me and Beer Boy were drunkenly having a conversation one night about how the Dojo University like course system is kind of like a video game.
Has achievements.
It's got achievements and things, and so and we're both video game nerds, me and him. Hard to imagine, I know. So we decided, hey, what if we tried to 100% the dojo?
I love the idea. There's no way it's going to happen.
There's
but I
no
love
way,
the idea.
because content comes out faster and you can do it, right? Like,
It's not that. It's because you have to be like
dude, you have to
like
do
you have to
so
be
much
like
stuff.
a pro level
Yeah.
player to pull it off.
So we are now doing a weekly series. The first episode dropped today, and it's just kind of explaining what the hell it is. And then during the week, we're doing quick little clips after we do dojo shit, talking about what we did and whatever. And we're competing every week for points to see who gets more points at the Piper's Dojo.
Okay.
I fucked this up so far because
Why?
I started with 0 points. He started with like 20 something.
That's all?
And I started going through like the beginner stuff because I'm like, when I say 100%, I mean, I'm doing
You got to do everything.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, he may have more points than me for the first couple weeks, but he's eventually going to have to go back
Correct.
and do all the fucking tedious beginner shit and listen to 17 hours of Doogie talk like I have this week.
Yep. The first chapter is
Josh, that's why
unbelievable.
you're ahead, brother. That's why you're ahead.
He'll
So
get there.
it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to be behind for a couple weeks, and then I think I'm going to edge in. But yeah, so and that's the whole thing. It's like a video game theme thing where we're just going to try to like aggregate points in the Dojo University, and it has a nice byproduct of us practicing, and I get to hang out and chat with my friend Brad.
That's amazing. I love
There
this.
you go.
idea.
Yeah,
That's
so
the most important thing there.
should be
that's
fun.
That's the key thing right there, man.
And then that's our Dojo's ad. The only other thing I had was St. Patty's is coming up, man. Wednesday. I'm fucking stoked. I am so excited to go play.
We're going to play some places.
I have volunteered for every gig that comes up.
Can you imagine actually playing some Yeah, well, you and I have definitely done that. And
Gee, Josh,
couple
you're
others.
such a sweetheart.
I just want to go. I just want to go outside, Seamus. I just want to go
understand.
outside.
I get it, brother. I get it, man.
I just want to drink
I
beer and
understand.
play
You're
music
such a
with my
sweetheart to
friends.
Get out there to the public and get the channel going, and away we go, right? St. Patrick's Day month. It's not just St. Patrick's Day. It's the St. Patrick's Day month. And Andy knows that, man, being on the East Coast, babe. We
Absolutely.
understand New York side of that.
It's a
you
whole
celebrate the whole
thing.
month.
Yeah. I have friends in New Jersey that are playing like every day from like probably yesterday until next Friday.
Fuck it. Happy St. Patrick's Day, then,
Salute.
Fusco.
Patrick's Day,
Happy
yes.
St. Patrick's Day,
Cheers to us all.
Seamus.
There we go, brother.
Fuck yeah, buddy.
But from Jersey, what exit?
Oh, he's North Jersey, but I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly.
baby, yeah.
So that's
Every time, Andy, every time.
So what are your St. Patty's traditions that you enjoy, Seamus?
Jesus, since leaving New York way back in the day, it was always a pleasure, taking care of all the Emerald Society pipe bands and be a part of the crew and have a really good celebration. But coming back to LA, it's been really low key. I only do maybe 1 or 2 personal spots on places that the owners know me very well and just want me to go in and do a few things and have a blast. But I don't do much on that day, guys. I try to just take it back, have a few whiskeys, a couple of pints, and take it in that way. But no, I don't bar hop, no.
Those days are behind you?
Well, yeah. I'd say that. I'd rather give it to you young gentlemen, you young bucks, man. I'd rather say yes. I don't need to really do a lot of that.
What are you talking about, you young gentlemen? It's me and Fusco. There's only
just
one
you
young guy in here.
Young gentlemen, man. You guys have got it together where you can go out and have a little fun and put it all together, and I give you that. But me, nah. I take it in with a nice couple of shots and a couple of bottles, and that will do me for the day.
You'll hang out in the garage and just jam and
studio work, stuff I do, and just take some time, like last year, like being the pandemic year. But I basically, when everything got shut down, it was the unique part of it happened just day before St. Patrick's Day, how a lot of my mates lost a lot of jobs. They went bar hopping, the bars were shut down. Brother, I just got the bottle out and had a few shots and just took it in very gently and very quietly. Say, hey, happy St. Patrick's Day to the world and happy St. Patrick's Day to the United States. Hey, this is where it's at right now,
So like
that's what I did on 17th of last year. I just chilled out, opened the door a little in the studio, and just took it in.
Yeah.
Really,
so
that's
like
what I did.
Gigging isn't a big part of your life these days?
Not so much. I guess just because of the popularity of just teaching quite a bit. I'm teaching around the world. I'm not just teaching in the States now, and I think you guys pretty much know a lot of that. But yeah, I'm on since the shutdown. And I don't kid you not. I feel like a doctor and an RN. I was teaching 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
3 screens going, plus all my recording stuff, all the tunes I've been out. And I do have a book 4 coming out this year. But yeah, everyone double up on lessons, guys. I was already prepared because I do a lot on the internet, but 90% of my business is on the internet.
Right.
It was just double up on lessons, the Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, the Tuesdays and Thursdays things, the weekends. I only had like 1 day off, but it just doubled up. We're on a different time zone. I was actually going 12 hours a day on just lessons. It was good, but exhausting. And I kid you not. I kid you not.
I understand.
But say
that.
you could sympathize.
Yeah, I do something very similar. When COVID hit, like I got actually busier. It's like remarkable. Like what? I didn't expect that at all.
I have to say, it was a bad pandemic. We get to understand it, but for me, it was a really good year to say that didn't stop me, and it just did the opposite. Where I thought I might take it easy, play more tunes, or get in studio work, play the pipes more on all my tunes, which I am doing. I thought it would just be that and just take it easy. No, it just did the opposite. It just completely just went the other way.
Damn. Wow.
That's pretty cool though. Like you're as I am, I'm taking advantage of everyone's pain and
And lining your pockets.
lining my pockets, bringing in the money.
Ah, there you go.
Cha-ching.
Pain and goodness, Sandy. Pain and goodness, baby.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, does it count as taking advantage of their pain? Like, I'm assuming people are getting better, right? Like, hopefully.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
people are.
actually, I'm finding that because this is what I found. Seamus, maybe you could talk to this, but what I found in teaching students, because there's no scramble to get something done for a specific reason, even though there's a negative side to that as well.
Yeah.
But that we have more time to get people into the details. That people are coming along actually faster because we can focus on smaller, more important fundamentals for longer periods of time versus like, oh my God, my MSR is next week. Let's just hammer the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And then
Let me just play it 17 times in a row instead of breaking it down and actually fixing
right.
shit.
I found because we have more time, we're getting more done. Are you finding that true or how are you?
And a very good point. Seriously, on a serious note on that. Yeah, I found it is a bit more relaxed, and I did changed up a lot of the schedules and a lot of what people wanted because of what was going on. That a lot of people that were almost every day of the week or just every other day, I would just curtail it to their interests and what they wanted to do, and it was more time, giving them more tunes, Rolodex of new tunes they never thought they'd ever play, get into other areas of music that they never thought they'd get into. 2020 allowed that. It opened that bridge where it said, listen, guys, we know that a lot of contests probably in March we didn't really think, but we probably knew that things are going to get canceled. A lot of the Highland events are going to get canceled. A lot of the competition events are going to get canceled just due to what we have to do in the guidelines of CDC. We have to do this, guys. We're in a very volatile situation throughout the world, not just the United States. So, it got to a point where we might want to change this up a bit, Andy. You're right. We might want to change this and let's do something different that we normally wouldn't do. Because what are you gearing up to? The Vegas games, Costa Mesa games, hypothetically speaking, or the Pleasant? We're probably not going to have these games, and they're probably going to shut down for the obvious reasons. Yeah. So let's get into things that you haven't done before that we can actually, really help you with. It gives you more time. Joss, it did all those things. It made it where people say, God, this is a lot better. The lessons are curtailed just a little differently, but it opened them up and it became fun. It wasn't just the intense side, but it was the fun side with a little bit of intensity, but people got more involved. It wasn't as if I'm getting ready for a contest. Like you said, Andy, I'm getting ready to smack out this MSR. It was basically in the period of weeks, let's play this MSR the way you really should play it. Let's play the hornpipe and jig the way you want to play it. Is there a hornpipe and jig you want to learn? Is there an MSR you'd like to learn? Is there anything that you have been taught you would like to go through? This would be the time to do it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a good point. So you've picked up a lot more students since all this happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on a scale of not just the North American side. On the world scale, I got about 22 to 23 students.
What I'm interested
scale on that. So I'm on time zones that get me from 10 o'clock at night till 3 in the morning. Sometimes 4. some have moved their schedules where I can work at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, so Seum-bone could get to bed at reasonable midnight. Midnight to me would be like 9 o'clock for most normal people.
Right.
So, some have changed. The Seamus, hey, can you do 4 or 5 your time, California time, where we can do 11, 10 in the morning, which is like 20 hours there. Later, like I have a student in New Zealand, I have one in Australia that are 2 hours behind, but between each other, but it was perfect. And said, we want to do something for you, Seamus, so you're not up late doing the things that you're doing.
Sure.
And I say, hey, I'm all for it, so if it turns out better, I could use that, thank you. Yeah. And it'd be nice to get to bed before midnight or a little after,
What I
but
find,
I'm so used to doing it because I curtail it to them because I'm used to teaching them because of their hours and their zone. So that's what made it popular. And it's just the emails came popping in, Andy. And, it's because they know each other. One knows, say, hey, I heard what you're doing, Seamus. Are you willing to do it here? Right. And I just kept it open, and It just went from there,
What I find interesting is that you're teaching people in China and Hong Kong, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
I got one in Bangkok and around the globe into Australia and New Zealand as I work my way to Europe. Yes.
What's the piping scene in like those areas? Like I guess it's Far East Asia. I don't know, like what you call that. But
yeah, they're not bad. Believe it or not, they're very good students, studious. They've actually studied under other teachers. Some have went to the piping center, when some have actually got their degrees in the UK. And I've just actually came home. And like to Beijing, for instance, I teach a brother and sister that basically have gotten their education overseas, and they just love pipes. And they learned from other instructors, and they actually knew the person I knew that I teach in Hong Kong. So it basically was a tenement of what they would do to email me based on the course of someone I do know. And it basically a lot of it comes down to technique, the musicality, and that's pretty much a universal language. I mean, not that I can speak Chinese and other words I have picked up. I kind of have them speak English and I speak Chinese. Let's kind of reverse the roles here for a bit, have a little fun with it. But it basically, it's a lot doing with music and phrasing and doing their best. Piping wise, that's kind of a universal language, man. You can kind of pick up where they are, and they're very good at speaking English, so it's a little bit of both languages. So
that's cool.
So when someone blows the attack in Hong Kong, and I shout "cunt," is that the same word?
Yeah. How do you say "get fucked, mate"? In
yeah.
Chinese?
How do you say "fucking take a lap"?
Take a lap. Yeah.
Brothers, they're very kind people, not to tell me the words that I should probably Seamus would pick on in Chinese language, but yeah, I would say no, I do not know those, but I'm sure under the circumstances they would if I were to ask, but no, I haven't.
Seamus, ask them just for me how to say, listen, mate, I'm going to throw you off the boat in Chinese.
Yeah.
But we'll get into what that is.
I need to know how to say "sell your pipes and kill yourself."
I try to do that anyway when I'm on screen because I do. It's like if I could reach through the screen and choke their asses, believe me, I would. So yeah, they would be in Hong Kong River if that was the case. Seamus's way, it would happen already, But I need to get the vernaculars and the language to go with it. Yes, I will look.
Or how do you connect the shock collar to a outside server?
So it goes all the way across the world.
I can just hit when I'm teaching someone via Zoom, I can just hit a button.
Hey, gentlemen, let me tell you, gentlemen, I've been asking Santa for a long time. It's been like 6 or 7 years. So I'm looking for that gift where I can reach in and choke the student when they do something wrong. So I want that Star Trek guy moved where I could just get in and do what I need to do. And be that Shame Master Tron that you've noticed in the movies. I want to be that guy, so I'm telling Santa, please, this will be the 8th year. I would like that gift so I can shock the students. So please give it to me. And that way, I could say, Seamus, you can't do anything to me. You're on a screen. But you know what? I am a monitor near you. Trust me. Not just a channel near you. I'm a monitor. I will get into you. Trust me.
Listen, people, you've never been threatened until you've been threatened by Seamus.
I'm just gonna get like the emergency contact of the student,
tricks, babe.
Get the emergency contact of the student, be like, can you walk in the next room and smack him upside the fucking head?
Just get their significant other
that
they live with or whatever. I'm sorry, honey. Seamus told me I had to do this.
Yeah.
It's it's okay to blame Seamus. It's all right, guys. It says I take the heat for all you guys, so that way you don't get smacked. I said just blame Seamus. I'm sure wives and some girlfriends around the world definitely feel that way, so it's okay. I'll take it for you, brothers.
That's
No
cool,
problem.
man. I always use you as an excuse. It's great. Like
Good.
it's
You do,
Seamus's
brother. No,
fault. I'm an
Andy,
asshole
please
as a
do.
pipe
You're
major.
Very good.
I can see that. Well, actually, we should. That segues us pretty nicely into talking about kind of Seamus's influence on your pipe majoring. But before we get to that, we have to acknowledge this lovely shirt that you're wearing.
I was waiting for somebody to notice it. I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, it does look good on you, but I wasn't going to say anything. Sorry, Andy. Sorry I didn't say anything.
Do you
But
see
go
what
ahead
it
and plot
says?
it in.
Where does it say?
Yeah, so Fusco's wearing a nice shirt that says "Pay the women."
Yes. Do you know why? Do you have any?
Yes,
idea?
I do.
Oh, you do know. Okay.
I'm aware of what happened.
So
So do you want to
somebody-
illustrate this?
So everybody would have just heard this because it just came out.
Just
on
came
audio,
out a little while ago,
but
yeah.
it was like a month ago now. But Kelly and I got into it over women in sports, which and I remember starting the conversation. I don't remember where it went. So
You were pretty
I was
hammed.
Probably pretty offensive.
It's always a bad sign when Fusco comes in and sits down for a recording of the episode and says, "I have nothing else to do today. I'm gonna get drunk."
Oh, please, baby, please.
You're lucky today 'cause I have somewhere to go
And I'm sitting there like when that happens, I'm like, "All right, so it's gonna be a shit show."
Right, yeah. Andy, we know what's going through your head, baby. We know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
knows.
have
They know
nothing
me
to
well
do,
at this point.
really.
But so anyway, we got into it about women's sports. Outside of the show, I got into a little discussion with some people.
Yeah, I'm about to say between Andy and Kelly, I'm sure you can both figure out who landed on which side.
And this is
the side
only
would be better.
this shirt in particular is only for the women's soccer team. It was proven to me that the women's soccer team brings in more money than the men's soccer team. So someone out there went through the trouble to actually
Prove you wrong.
go through the research. Well, prove me wrong
doubt,
in one
no doubt,
exception,
no doubt,
but
yeah.
whatever. Okay. But I was willing to take my punishment like a man. And yes, you're right. The women's soccer team brings in more. I was hoping to get a jersey. I wanted one of those lesbo chicks jersey with her name on the back.
Well,
But I
you
got
heard
this
it. You heard
shirt,
it here first, audience. You know the mailing address. So
Send me one of those hot broads that likes to go down on other broads, and send me that shirt. But
he's a size dad bod.
I'm telling you, Andy, you're going to be up a little later than myself, pal. You're going to be used to my hours.
Oh, I'm gonna get all kinds of hate mail, don't worry.
You're already there, bro.
He's a extra medium.
medium plus.
Yeah, medium plus.
But
Oh,
anyway,
man.
hey,
Josh,
in the
slide
end-
it in, Josh, that was good. Woo!
in the end, all I care about is fairness. Yes, if women bring in more money, then pay them equal or better than men, obviously, or whatever the rough equivalent to the ad sales.
You know where
is.
that definitely doesn't happen is bagpiping podcasts.
No, definitely not. The women are not paid as equal.
But yeah, so I just wanted to acknowledge before we go down the rabbit hole. I want to acknowledge this beautiful. At least they sent you a decent shirt. Like
It's
I get
actually a
crap from Charleston Pipe Band. That's a nice shirt.
Yeah, this is a nice shirt actually. It fits well. It's like soft, that soft cotton that's nice.
like the shirts in the Chanarant store.
it's apparently from
Josh,
Chicago for some reason. I don't know why.
Josh,
Yes, sir.
Josh, to coin a phrase, the whole, yes. The rabbit, yeah.
Wait, which hole?
Sorry, mate. But go
Which
proceed,
hole are we
Josh,
talking about?
sorry.
But I
But,
just want to remark to the world. I will come out now and say I've
you-
seen the light.
You have not listened to the episodes. You don't know what you're in trouble for.
I have no idea, but I'm fully supportive of women's issues. White women everywhere, I am on your side for being the most oppressed minority in all of society.
Fusco, hero to Karens everywhere.
I will support
God,
all
that was so
Karens. If it
beautifully
gets me
put,
laid,
Daddy. Just
I'm on
so
your side.
beautiful. Yeah, yes, yes. Yes. Hey,
much
I
like
tell
you, Fusco's
women do
penis would
better-
like to speak to the manager.
exactly.
But it's only going to be one choice word coming out of that one. Yes. It's only one word you're going to think of that one. Let me say the word. But let me say, Andy, you're right. If they could do it better, absolutely. I'm all for women's rights. You do better than ourselves, then that's fine. God bless them.
This episode of the Chanarant Podcast is brought to you by MacLellan Bagpipes, proudly made in North America by artesian bagpipe maker Roddy MacLellan from Eust, Scotland. At MacLellan Bagpipes, they don't strive to be the biggest, fastest, or the cheapest. They do, however, meticulously craft a small number of the best sounding and most beautiful looking bagpipes in the world since their beginning in 1988. Over the years, MacLellan Bagpipes has established a solid reputation for rich, warm, and stable tone, created with incredible craftsmanship and instruments of heirloom quality and unparalleled beauty. Head to bespokebagpipes.com to learn more about their innovations like the new Elevation Chanter, which features a lower-pitched richness inspired by the classic top hand of older chanters and sustainable solutions like the Revelation Bagpipe, a Delrin instrument featuring bores lined with a cellulose polymer sleeve giving you the structural benefits of a Delrin instrument while maintaining a refined wood-like sound. Check out MacLellan Bagpipes' diverse line of instruments and learn more about their restoration work on vintage bagpipes by visiting their website at bespokebagpipes.com. MacLellan Bagpipes, born in Scotland, made in the USA.
Josh, you're looking good, mate. You're looking good, man.
Yeah.
Good. How's life been?
Yeah,
how's it doing?
It's been like getting repeatedly kicked in the dick for 12 months, but with a smile.
You're never fully
That's a good way to look at that, Josh.
On the bright side, I have used my spare time to get into pretty decent shape, so that's helped.
That's good.
Minus,
good for you, man.
It's
good. You're keeping healthy. You look good, man. And Andy, you do too. By the way, how have you been keeping?
I've been keeping. It's been going all right. Can't complain.
Yeah, you're looking good too. You're very healthy. So you guys are doing the right thing.
I hide it under the beard. Like
every part of us is healthy except for our minds and livers.
Yes, the liver is a terrible. Well, you know what John Wayne once said: "A liver is a terrible thing to waste."
Man. The liver's taking a beating, but the mentality and the comedy side keeps on going.
Absolutely, you know us, Seamus.
Stick it, baby.
All right, boys, you ready to rock?
I'm ready.
I'm ready to rock. Go ahead and go, brothers. Go ahead and go.
All right, we're going deep.
That's fine with me.
Hard and deep.
Just like they like it.
Welcome back. Thank you for people who are hanging out during the chat. And thank you to our magnificent sponsor, MacLellan Bagpipes, for being, a sweet fucking set of bagpipes.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yes.
And you got a lovely set of those yourself.
I do. I play a set of the MacLellan Revelations, and I've played them a lot, and they sound good, and they're easy to play, and my life is good.
I can't wait to hear them on St. Patrick's Day.
I'm going to play the fuck out of them on St. Patrick's Day, and I'm very excited.
It seems like Andy, he's really definitely ready for St. Patrick's Day. Josh is in the mode.
He is ready to get the hell out.
I am. Hey, I like to think of myself as for the vast majority of the time, very much a team player when it comes to pipe band.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Mm-hmm. As most people
I will be the first person to jump on the grenade in pipe band situations.
You have done very well in the Vegas pipe band, pal. You've been very good about that, and I can contest to that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh no, I quit that band, Seamus. I'm out. Yeah.
Well, the moments that I was there teaching the band when the illustrious Andy Fusco came up with the term that everyone seems to love all over the world, you were doing pretty good.
Which term is that, Seamus?
Oh, man.
The one that
says Seamus must be experienced.
Oh, yeah.
No, man, I can't tell you how many people email, messenger on that damn term and when we put out there on Facebook.
Oh my God!
Bringing back that moment. Oh, here it goes again.
cannot be explained.
That is your baby. That is your limelight, guy.
Oh
that is it. That's your ticket.
Every once in a while, I get something right, and that one I just got right.
Oh, that one
Mostly it's wrong. But
everyone loves it, Andy. Everyone loves you for it. That is one of the best quotes, man. I got it on my site because it's great. The way you worded it, absolutely, babe. You nailed that one.
Hits it on the head.
Seamus, that reminds me. I have this whole plan to do a Seamus meme thing going forward. I wanted to wait for this episode to happen. Are you okay with me using your image in meme form?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for it. But if I could think of anyone to do it, it would be you.
We just need so there's a theory in animation.
Oh yeah?
That there's only a certain number of expressions. There's like 37 expressions you have to draw to animate a character properly.
Oh, okay.
So all we need is for the Seum-bone to send us all of those expressions in image format, and then boom, your meme library is ready to go. It could be hashtag Seamus says.
Dude, I've got a bunch of pictures of Seamus from band things that
Yeah, you got the band quotes and the pictures of me, man.
I do.
The nonchalant ones, they're definitely out of character. But I just sit there and I start nailing people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been working on this for like a
got
month.
it all in that portfolio, buddy.
One of my favorite ones was like the fucking hold it. Go make a sandwich. Come back.
Right. Go make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while you're holding that note. That was one of Seumas's quotes.
I was dying.
Yeah, Josh, you remember? That's so beautiful. See, I told you.
I was dying. It was so perfect.
He's full of them, and I've recruited friends of ours that know Seumas well to supply quotes and funny memories and stuff. It's gonna be great, Seumas. I'm gonna make you famous, or way more famous than you already are.
God bless you.
I'm glad that I've passed on the responsibility of making other bagpipers popular.
You know, I want to pay it forward.
Andy. Take the role, baby. You do good with it. Man.
So we have some questions for you, Seumas. A little pre-question. We'll see where it goes. We'll freeform this a bit, but we have some things to head us in a direction, perhaps. But so some of the easy ones, we'll just get a conversation started if that's okay. But I'm curious. Like you've been playing pipes. Let's see, how long have you been playing pipes now? 50 years.
When was the Revolutionary War?
I turned 55, so I've been playing 51 and a half years.
Yeah, you started when you were three and a half, right?
Yeah, 3.5 years.
Your first book has a picture of you walking as a toddler with a chanter, if I remember correctly. Was it the first book?
Trust me. I didn't get the other benefits of most kids. I got the chanter instead.
Hey, you got the chanter and a good kick in the ass. You know what I mean? And
yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, God bless my dad.
A chanter and a kick in the ass. The Seumas Coyne story.
That's the name of your new book.
That's the memoir.
That's not a bad tune to think about since I'm in the tune writing phase here, guys. You keep these quotes going. We can make things happen.
Oh yeah, it's coming. So tell us how this happened. Like your dad was a piper, right, in Southern California, and instilled you with this.
Well, yeah, he was born and raised in Roscommon from Ireland, and, went over to Scotland, and he didn't actually play pipes until he was 14, and then came over to the States, popped across the pond, and being my father, he did the smart thing, married the boss's daughter. He was good at doing that.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, in New York, and my mom obviously could see the New York side of me from my mother's side. Yeah, and they went across right through Route 66 all the way to California until he saw sunshine. He saw enough weather in his life to say, "Hey, I want sunshine," and that's what happened. And I was born and raised in Santa Monica, California.
And he put a chanter in your hand early. Was he like in love with the pipes? Like once he started to learn?
I mean, he loved pipes. I mean, to be honest, my grandfather, which I never met, he didn't like pipes that much. He really hated pipes. And Dad was really, was very passionate about piping itself. So he taught himself. He went to some instructors in Ireland before he moved to Scotland for work and whatnot. And then he just went to the States. But he got, a lot of lessons and extra lessons and supplements from Jimmy McCall, the great, who is still retired, but the guy is phenomenal in pibrox. But a lot of the players in Los Angeles, and he was actually one of the original founding members of LA Scots back in 1960-61. He probably moved out to LA in 1959.
Jesus Christ. That time existed?
I'm about to say, yeah. Angus was only like 16.
The good old days where the gas was cheap and hamburgers were prime.
Yeah. The good old days where gas was cheap and there were 2 water fountains.
Oh fuck. Well, okay, yes, we're going there, I guess.
Going that direction politically, yes.
We're not talking men and women, people.
I'm just saying, man, the good old days weren't that fucking good for.
All right.
It depends if you're from the South or not.
That side.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I'm okay with cheap hamburgers, but I got free internet porn and less racism, so I think we're doing pretty good.
We're doing all right. It's fine,
Josh. You're doing pretty good. But that's how he got started, and he was really acclimated in the LA area in the Scottish and Irish community, which was quite strong then. He played for the band for a while, and of course I was born, in 66, baby. Good year on cars. Good year in America.
Great year on cars.
What's that?
Great year on cars. I'm
great year on cars.
Absolute horror for old cars.
I know my cars, but Yeah, it basically was it's something he never forced on me, Andy. To get back to your point, it's and you might have known the story. I know you've always sat around the table in the living room. You've always been a fantastic guest at the house. You've been part of the family, but I'm sure you heard the story. But it's he was just playing a lot. He played pipes a lot, and I'm just kind of sitting around taking it all in. And one day, my dad went into the kitchen and was making a cup of tea. And I just kind of picked up his pipes. It was sitting on the couch. And a kid doesn't know what the hell, no A, B, and C, let alone 1, 2, and 3. Just kind of picked it up and kind of put it on my shoulder. And this thing was about as big as me. It's like putting King Kong on my shoulder. And I just kind of put my hands on whatever I could. And I was just kind of mimicking what my dad was doing. Whatever tune he was playing. And it was just, I didn't know grace notes. I didn't know scales, obviously. And he came out from the kitchen, and all I remember is that he dropped his good Irish bone tea mug, and it fell to the floor. I think, I'm going to be paying for this one later. But, and he sat down with me, and a little discussion, do you really like bagpipes? Well, I'm thinking in my head, yeah, of course. I obviously did what I did. But it was never something, guys, that he forced on me. It was something I wanted to do. And he took me through the bouts of becoming a really good player. And I can't thank him enough. I mean, I went to the finest players in the world, which are now legends. He supported my career well. It was beyond a father and son relationship, I could say. My mother pretty much was supportive of a lot of it, I would say. I think my mom would say honestly that I didn't have much of a childhood because the competitiveness of where I was going and where Dad was basically taking me.
Sure.
I was like his protege. I was his boy, and Mom told me once, God rest her soul, says, I wish you had more of a childhood than you had an adulthood because, guys, I was around people that were 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, and I'm 7 years old. So I'm kind of around that, that era, guys, where you have the smokes and the hams, the Olympia beers, and they're having a couple of good jokes. And here I am around those adults more than I am around kids with the G.I. Joes and big boy dolls, and the Big Jim dolls and Mattel and Tychos. No, Seumas was around those adults and taking it all in. And I think my mom says, I just kind of wish you had more of a childhood than you did more of an adulthood at that age. So, but back then, that's what a lot of them did, Andy, right? Your folks will tell you, It was basically a time where you have a couple of good jokes, you play pipes, you have your beer, you have your cigarette. Doesn't mean that, which I told my mother, it didn't mean that I went out to a liquor store to go get a pack of cigarettes. I didn't go out to get Olympia beer or Budweiser or hams at the time. I didn't do all that. They did that, but I was just taking it all in as a little boy.
Right.
But it doesn't mean I went out and did that.
Right. Well, looking back now that you are who you are today, do you wish that for yourself? Or are you happy with having that experience and getting to where you are? Or would you have done things differently?
Good point. No, seriously, Andy, good point. My mother actually asked me that question. And it was kind of hard to really sit down and answer that because I don't really know. I mean, the way my dad has driven me into where I am today. I don't know. I do wish that I did ride the bikes, the skateboards and stuff like that with boys. Absolutely, with your friends, mingle a bit more. But I was more in the competitive edge and doing the things that I was doing and going out and competing. I won one of my first contests in novice when they didn't have grade divisions, where it was just 21 and under and 21 and over. And I won my first two contests in the slow air, the march, and the jig contest at 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And Dad formulate what I was going to do, Andy, as opposed to what Seumas wanted to do. But I had a good life. I'm not going to admit I had a really good life. I was really, really taken care of by my mom and dad. I'm going to admit that. I was spoiled, but not a typical American spoiled boy. But I appreciate what my parents did for me.
Sure.
But, my mom would have loved to have that personally. I think she probably thought that would be good, during the times of, why ain't he playing with his kids his own age? Why is he around people that are 20, 25 years older than him, 30 years older than him, you know? but they treated me well. I mean, yeah, they had their, typical jokes and play pipes, have a beer, have a couple of tunes, guys, and jokes. But I wouldn't really understand the jokes. But it's not as if the gentlemen that were around my father would say, hey, there's a 7-year-old child sitting here or 8-year-old boy here.
No, nobody gives a fuck.
Not back then.
Not even now.
I just laugh and take it in, but I don't know what the joke was about. But that was pretty good.
That's interesting.
That kind of what happened, but they were very gentle. I mean, they didn't do anything that would feel that my dad would be uncomfortable. But I was one of the lads sitting there like the little rascals, that kind of thing, and you take it in and you go with it. But like I told my mom, did you see me go down and do the things that they did? No, I was a good boy. I didn't go to the liquor store. I didn't do all those things. But the fact that I was exposed to it, guys,
right.
and the fact that it was there surrounding me. But thank goodness, that part of me, held true. And I did what I did as I grew up. I didn't do those things, man.
Yeah, so there's a couple interesting things that this brings up. First one that I'm interested in is like, was there a difference in relationship when you have a dad who's also a mentor in a sense, musically especially? Like, was there compartmentalization of being a dad, being a mentor, or was he always like either a dad or a mentor?
Good question, Josh. Seriously, good question. Yeah, it was actually a bit of both. I think a lot of people that were on the outside looking in looked at the relationship between my dad and myself as more than just a father and son relationship. It wasn't a daddy and son thing. It was his companion of good faith, of good nature, helping my dad through tunes, helping my dad through other things in piping as I was developing. It was like a tit for tat. It was like dad helped me and I helped my dad, and it was a tight relationship as far as a good team. He was a good coach. All right, guys, he was a good coach. And he was always there for me when I needed him. And he was always good with the analogies, which you love so much, Andy. But my dad, in the Irish terms, my dad was very good with analogies. But he supported me well by helping me as I was being nourished, if I could say that,
right, through
through my years. And my mother was there. I would have to say she was there. She was very much a career woman at the time, and she just kind of let Dad take the son, and of course I was the only child. And just gonna roll with it. This is your son, this is your thing, and you're going with it. And my mom supported a lot that I did. Believe me not to say that. She probably could have stepped in and say, hey, this is not where we would like to see our son, quote unquote, go. But, he's in good hands. He wants to do this. It's not like you're pushing him to do it. But I think there was a part of my mother that said, yeah, I'd like to see him have a boyhood, which I really didn't have. I'd say my life growing up, guys, was quite unique. Yeah, man, Andy, looking back on it, the regret side, no, I don't regret that. It was an experience. Definitely was an experience.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have a father to put me through that, I probably wouldn't know. But I would say it was, something I don't regret, more of an experience, and I love it. And I don't look back on and say, God, I wish I did do this. But I did sympathize with my mom. We did have this conversation. But I said, Mom, I totally understand. But at the same token, you kind of let Dad take the realm and go with it too. It's not as if you could have stepped in and said something.
Sure.
It's interesting to me just because like I feel like there's some. Like in the Venn diagram of me and Seumas, there are things there because like I started pretty young.
Not that young, but
not
pretty
young. I started like 13, so I was behind for sure. But I was dropped off at pipe band. Like it was not.
You're a 2000s latchkey kid.
Yeah, like I was dropped off on pipe band. Everyone was fucked in the head royally.
Correct.
Yep. And I did not abide to my better demon, like my better angels.
You went down the wrong way.
I was like, yep. Like I was like, what are we doing? Oh, we're doing fucked up shit. All right, let's go.
Well,
You were rolling with the punches, Josh. You were rolling with the
But
punches.
I also like, going in that same, like, that's how I describe my pipe band experience. But I also think that that's like, I would never change anything about it. That was the most developmental time of my life. And I was, like you talked about, I was like, people that are much fucking older than me. And I liked that, and I think it paid off in the long term because, like, I think it's going to be funny for me to say this, maybe slightly more mature at an early age.
Oh my God.
Oh,
You came in
absolutely.
mature though.
I mean, I would have to contest to that, guys. Absolutely, that you mature more than your actual biological age. Being around people like that, really, guys, it does bring that side out that you wouldn't get until later in life. Yeah, you're going to be a little bit different in school. You're going to be,
You are correct.
I was known as the kid that was the most popular kid, being who I was and being a piper at the time, not a world-class player at that point, but I was going in that direction, very competitive. But I was very, very unique in my school experiences. And, and it all rolls into that mold that you're talking about, Josh. You're not just the average 7-year-old, the 8-year-old or 10-year-old, You're one of the ones that are doing something outside the norm of what most kids would do at those levels at school. And I was one of those kids. I mean,
Right.
when I was going to when I came back from Australia, when I lived down there for a while, which I know you guys are probably getting at that, but to go forward a bit, when I came back to the United States from Australia and going into my high school, basically at the time when Valley Girls was a big thing in the early 80s. Our school, Birmingham High, was this school that was basically Valley Girls school. And that was a big talk about realizing that they didn't know that they had this world-class kid sitting on campus who was doing what he was doing, who was very, very quiet about it. And one of my mates who was, editor of the paper said, I want to do an article on you. And I says, well, I don't know if you really want to do that, but if that's what you want to do, all of a sudden catapults Seumas out of the limelight of just being an average high school kid who really does this. Let's say I'm Batman and Superman in the cave, and I just come out and do superhero things, and it could just all the way over to the other side of what people would consider
Hold on.
such a hero.
How much would you pay to see Seumas in a cape when he's at the games, like judging? Just
Yeah.
fucking ass on the back for Seumas, a big fucking Superman cape.
It was like another side, another world that a lot of kids didn't know about because no one knew about it. I just came to school, did my business, came home, get on a flight, go to a competition. Dad
part
was
of
there,
that, part of that too, is like you're with a lot of kids that have no interesting aspects of their personality, right? Like they go to school, they go home. That's what they do. Like
Maybe they play kickball or whatever.
well, yeah, I mean it's Valley Girls, so it's mostly skin flute, probably.
The big thing back then was the Valley Girl, So here they got this kid on campus they really don't know about until it came out in the paper, and all of a sudden, Mr. Seumas, man, became a popular boy on campus. Of close to 3,000 senior people that were graduating that year. So.
Well,
that is the greatest herpes origin story
just,
I've ever heard.
Yeah, I wasn't just a guy on campus that was just a kid going to school, which I was. I was known as, he's the bagpipe dude. Oh, he's this player, man, that goes all over the world to compete. Yeah, well, okay, well, fine. You obviously read the paper. So, and that's when people knew more of it, Andy. It was more than were shocked at, Seumas, why didn't you say anything about it? I was just a kid at that time, bringing it back to kids. It's just being a high school kid on campus, man. I'm not trying to be the Saved by the Bell boy, okay? I'm not trying to say I want to be popular.
Well,
I was just going to school, hanging out with good friends, having a good time playing ball, playing basketball, tennis, and just doing that thing so I can have that part of my life. So I didn't feel like that stigma was on campus. Like, oh shit, here comes Seumas, man, dude, we got to talk to this guy.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about that. Like, so the legend goes that when you were 13, correct me if I'm wrong, but you played with shots in the Worlds in grade 1. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's the youngest record. It may have been outdone by now. I hear Rob Matheson played when he was very young at
Yeah, he did. Matheson played, but he was in the band when I was in the band.
No,
yeah, he was
he's
in Polk at the time.
how old? He's similar your age though, right? It was roughly. Well, no, he might be a little older than you. Right?
Yeah, he's a bit older than me. No, he's
Yeah,
a bit older.
So
than
so
me.
they just cut you from the core when your balls drop. Is that how that works?
So like Shots and Dykehead, one of the greatest bands of all time
Phenomenal.
for most of time.
Phenomenal.
For
Yeah,
almost all of time.
phenomenal band
how
for a
did
very
you-
long time.
How did you end up in Shots at 15? Or sorry, 13. So that would have been what, 1979? Right?
Yeah,
roughly?
79. Well, that
Who was
time
the
I
pipe
in
major back then?
Australia. This is the time that my mom and dad decided to move to another country, from California, and just something they wanted to do, and it made me say I was along for the ride. I really didn't have a choice in the matter, but okay, fine. We're going to go to Australia. I'm thinking, where the fuck is Australia? Okay, fine. I finally got into my encyclopedias, which is the internet of today, just to get an idea where we were going. And at the time, I was playing with a really good pipe band that was one of the finest bands in Australia, was St. Mary District Band Club. And their sister band was Shots. But at that time, Vic Police was just a solid grade 2 pipe band at that time. So the best bands in Australia was Queensland Irish, St. Mary District Band Club. And at that time in Western Australia, it was just a lot of, grade 3 pipe bands and grade 2. But really, they were the two bands that were knocking out. And St. Andrew's Society Pipe Band was another one. So they were kind of like the finest bands in Australia. And Tom McAllister Jr. used to come down and teach St. Mary District Band Club, a couple of times a year. He used to fly down. And at the time that he was teaching, he was basically, going over the pipe band strategies and all that with St. Mary's, because eventually they were going to go to the Worlds. And, of course, they were Australian champions in 79 and 80. So Tom talked to my dad, knew he saw what I was doing. Playing McAllister reeds at my age too was something no lad was really doing, and I could handle his reeds because I was taught playing his reeds. Which
were known for being particularly
About
hard,
to say, yeah,
correct?
they're like 2x4s, right?
Yeah, because I'm too young. Because the first things out of Tom McAllister about to my father's like, he's quite young to be playing my reeds, son. Well, I've been playing him for a while, sir, but and being very polite, sir was a big thing because the McAllister family was very strong on ethics and discipline.
I feel like I'm very polite. I tell people, get fucked, sir.
Yeah.
Or ma'am.
I just, yes, sir,
Or
I
ma'am.
could play the reeds. And so it was a conversation that Tom McAllister Jr. had with my father, without me. And the fact he has an opportunity to play with something very big. And I think your son could handle it. And that's when my father approached me on that issue.
That's cool.
And that's when I decided to go from Australia to Scotland, and I stayed there. And I did stay with the family for a bit.
Right.
And I had a chance to know Alex Dutton very well and stay with the family there. So I was in Scotland for quite a while. So really much they were my parents. Well, my dad and mom had a business that they had in Australia that my dad wanted to do is get into delicatessen restaurant business. So he just wanted to do that. So I was left in their hands in good guidance. And I basically would be known as the internet today again, is that I would, sister school that was similar to the private school I was with in Australia would send me homework and assignments, and I would go do it via email. And airmail was the way to go. Sorry, not email, but airmail. And I would do all my homework while I was over there and do the things I had to do so I could stay up on my studies. And then I played with the band throughout those months, and then I went back to Australia, and then eventually came back to back to California in '81.
Right. So then you played with such bands, then SFU, LA Scots, in early years, I guess in the 90s, LA Scots, and then you went back to SFU. You're currently back with SFU, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Right.
I've
And
been with
Not to forget the James J. Coyne Memorial Pipe Band.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yes, I mean, but he's going to get to that. John's good point. He's going to get to that. But yeah, I was in the early stages with SFU. So it was a relationship that I did through pen pals with Andrew Bonar, God rest his soul, for a very long time. He was very, very close to me. And we stayed in touch and all that, long before I thought about going to Vancouver. And that's when it was approached about, hey, we'd love to have you up here and maybe check it out. I hope I can cut the mustard and do it.
Yeah.
But, at the time with the experience of being with the McAllisters, I was a McAllister boy, and playing with the band. And fortunate that year they won the Worlds. So I had a really good experience of being taught by the very best in the pipe band world, and experience of just being with them and living with them. Yeah, it was it's a long time ago, but it's stuff that I will always remember, and I can obviously thank my father for it because he actually supported it. That I could do the things that I could do. I was not just a normal child, guys. I will admit that I was not the normal child.
Well, you're not a normal adult either.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
I agree with you, Josh. I can test to that.
I mean, you come by it. You come by it naturally, bro.
It's just the way it is, mate. So I had a great experience in those years coming back to the States. And I just kind of just blossomed from there. But eventually getting up to Vancouver, my dad knew of Jack and Terry at the time, and knew they were really, really fine players. And he knew Jack Ironside very well, which is their uncle, which was kind of a connection of eventually meeting Terry and Jack, and playing with the band.
Right.
Jack's been my big brother ever since for over 40 years, and I love him dearly. He supported a lot of our careers of being where we are right now,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
I was in good hands. Andrew Barner and I have a big thank you to Jack on
Absolutely,
that, as much as we might have driven him nuts.
Right.
At those pitches,
I'm sure you still do.
Enough to pay us back in the big time. It was really cool that he did a lot for us. He did a lot for me personally. And it was like my second home. It was like a home away from home. I was more in Vancouver than I was in Los Angeles. At that time, before we had the internet band, and the Zoom and the Skype, I was going up to Vancouver at least almost 20 times a year, if not 23 times a year. So I was flying up there.
It's a very common thing among people who have spent time at the Jack Lee B&B.
Yeah. I was wondering.
Very early ones to stay with them, and I stayed with Terry too, Terry and Nancy, as well as I stayed with Jack and Christine. And it's a very much part of my heart. They're very close to me and family wise. It was my family away from family, and that's a lot of years, guys. That's a lot of years.
I would say, Seumas, I would argue that perhaps you might be the reason that Jack's hair is as gray as it is.
Very likely.
What do you think?
I'm not going to argue that point, Andy, because you're fucking well right. It's probably right. The stories that could come out of the band and Seumas's craziness.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Well, probably see why he has the gray hair. It's not his three lovely boys. There's times where there's good moments, and I would come home, and Christine would just be making dinner for a lot of us, and we'd come back from band practice, and Christine would just look at me and say, you pissed off Jack, didn't you? And I go, I guess I did.
So Uncle Jack
she would know the moments of what he would be, his containment, walking in the house, knowing that I must have done something. And she would know that. I love her for it. She says, yeah, you pretty much pushed his buttons. I go, yes, ma'am. I'm pretty much taking it.
So wait, if Seumas gave Jack grace.
It's always those moments around me or whatever it was. If I can give you a bit of a story. I mean, the funniest one when Andrew was in the band, and these are great moments, and God love him for him, because I'm lost without him too because of his death in 2017. Fighting cancer, we had some great moments. And one of the moments we had at band practice was a couple of new 6/8s we had to play. And, we're just looking at music, and it was just something that Terry wanted to play, and they were just beautiful 6/8s. And we just get through them, just kind of living, just going through them. And Jack stopped the band. And a lot of people don't understand Jack then than they do now. He was quite intense. Fantastic, but intense. So there was a moment where he stopped the band, and long story short was, hold the low A, out on your ass. Hold the low A, out on your ass. Hold the low A, out on your ass. So I'm thinking, fuck, hold the low A or on your ass. So, okay, fine. So it's one of the 6/8 that were leaning from one to the other in the bridge. And, okay, the guy wants us to hold the fucking low A. Okay, fair enough. So I'm looking over at Andrew and he's looking at me. So, okay, fine. You want to hold the fucking low A? Fair enough. So we're going from, I believe we're going from Donald McLean at Lewis, and we're going into I forgot the name of the 6/8, but it's one of the popular 6/8s. So we go, is that, and we stretch that fucking low way as long as we but you didn't say how long, so Jack would stop the band and go, stop, not that long, and of course you said hold a low way, but you didn't say how long, so so does Seamus have moments of pushing buttons?
Let me tell you, we used to do the same shit to you. We used to do the same shit to you back in the JGC days. Daryl was a big proponent of, let's just fuck with Seamus sometimes.
I got my
all the guys were, but
it just come back to haunt you.
Yeah, okay. And so Jack was influential to you, and Jack is sort of legendary. He never said anything like that when he's teaching our band. He's super nice all the time, no matter what.
Well, God bless you.
But it's not his band.
You're never going to get that side of him when he does an SFP.
Yeah, that's
right.
What I love correct.
About him.
Yeah,
his
you're always
band.
going to get the nice side of Jack,
right.
And we get the intense side of Jack when we go out. So
there's the legend. There's
God
a legend
you,
of getting sent to Uncle Jack. Like, oh fuck, I don't want to go. Terry's like, all right, go see Jack. Like, oh fuck.
I just love the idea of the fact that, like, we talk about trickle down. So Seamus spent his career giving Jack grays, and then you and Daryl gave Seamus all of his grays.
Absolutely. Absolutely correct. And now all my fucking band gets me grays.
And Norma brought that point up, Eddie. Says it's going to come back and haunt you, Seamus. And so I'm sure it will. I'm pretty sure.
It definitely
you've
does.
done all this shit. And the fact I'm still alive to talk about it, I say, okay, because I would do that. Andy, you know me. It's just things I would do. It's just the moment was there and you just do it. Should I or should I not? I'll go ahead and do it and just pay the price for it later. That was my repercussions.
Right,
down
absolutely.
the line. But needless to say that you and Daryl, cahoots, and here we go. Let's get back at Seamus, the fucker. Let's get back at him.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I loved it. I didn't say anything bad about it because you know what? I deserved it because of all the things I did.
Oh, absolutely. And it was great fun. Like,
so who's giving you yours? Is it like me and Angel?
Oh, it's definitely Angel. I wouldn't say it's you so much. It's like
I've stopped fucking with you for the most part.
I
used to fuck with you.
It has been you at times.
I used to fuck with you way more than I do now.
Yeah. Mostly you're not so bad
Andy,
anymore.
I'll never forget the little moment, if I could bring this on the
Oh,
air.
yeah.
We were at the pizza parlor and we're having the lunch and all, and you and Angel were getting into something, and I was asked the questions.
Oh, I remember this, yeah.
Is this going to be discussion of pipe band analogy and questioning, or is this going to be something that's going to be a heated discussion between the two of you? And I was stuck in the middle eating my pepperoni pizza.
Right. I remember this.
Mom and Dad are fighting at the table. You're trying to finish your meal.
Angel and I are like arguing over.
And then it got intense, and I go, "Wait a minute! I better eat this pizza before something happens between you two." Because
can you imagine Seamus was being the reasonable one in that situation?
I can.
He was like trying to talk us both down.
Yeah, he had a good pie that he wanted to finish.
He just wanted to eat his goddamn dinner and like.
I really wanted to finish that.
Hey, if y'all want to go out in the fucking parking lot and brain each other, perfectly fine.
That's where it was headed.
Just let me finish my meal.
Is there anybody more frustrating than Angel? Right? I mean, if you're in charge of something.
And Andy, you held your composure well, and so did Angel. But I said, God, shit, I'm eating my pie.
Yeah, like let me finish my meal, and then you can go beat the fuck out of each other.
Oh, it was great. So
yeah, it started off good, and then it got heated more than my pie. Then I said, "Oh, this is good." I was like, okay, but it was so funny, Eddie, because the way you held your composure and the way Angel was, I'm eating between all this.
He's just like quietly like.
Yeah, see,
so funny.
I'm that guy at the bar.
You're the guy at the bar drinking.
Like I'm that guy. I'm that guy at the bar where I'm just like, oh God, can I at least finish my fucking bev before I have to like intervene violently?
To be fair, you were probably still in college at the time, but
trust, it's not like we had a really good practice and we're just taking a break, just a lunch break, and all of a sudden it extends into the lunch. So I go,
oh no.
Oh come on. You're not guilty of that. Come on. Okay. So the reason I know Seamus. Let's get into the reason I know you, Seamus.
Here it comes.
So back in the mid 2000s, 2004, I think it was, maybe 2005. Seamus had a band called James J. Coyne Memorial Pipe Band, which is named after his father. God rest his soul. And my friend Chris Brannon brought me into that band because him and I played at the Worlds with Misty Isle in 2004. And then he's like, "Hey, you have that guy." And he's like, "Hey, you have some ability. Come play in my band, the band with Seumas." And I didn't know Seumas from a hole in the wall at the time. So he's like, "Yeah, call Seumas up and like tell him you want to be in the band, and then like maybe you can come and practice with us." So and that's what I did. So I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to be in a grade 2 band." I was a shitty grade 4 player at the time, maybe at best, but I had some ability. And so I called Seumas up.
The grade 4 band you were playing in wasn't hot. Like,
well, not the Desert Sky, but Misty Isle was pretty decent.
But you know what, Andy, to consider that story, which you will, I had faith in you, mate.
Well, that's true. You did. So I called Seumas, and we talked for like an hour. He's like, "Listen, man," he laid down the law like nobody's ever laid down the law. He's like, "Listen, it's my way or the fucking highway. You either do it my way or you don't." I mean, this went on for an hour, but this is the summary. He's like, "You're going to do it the right way. We play sheepskin bag with a goddamn t-shirt, and don't forget the fucking t-shirt, and you're going to play my chanter and my blah, 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 whatever. The cane reeds, sheepskin bag, the whole fucking
I heard the same spiel.
Oh, the whole night. Yeah, oh, yeah, you heard it too, yeah. So I'm like, I'll do it, whatever. I don't give a fuck. So then...
Just like Ben Johnson used that line later.
Where's Canadian
the fucking t-shirt? Put the fucking t-shirt in the bag. Remember?
Ben Johnson, that guy.
Ben Johnson get on that one, and then all of a sudden it was based off you, babe. And obviously he took off with it. He said, "Put the fucking t-shirt in the bag."
Right. It's all about the fucking t-shirt. Nothing matters. You gotta have the t-shirt. So that was a particular thing.
Josh, I can explain that later. There is an analogy. It's not Seumas's craziness, but there is a reason.
No, there's a reason.
There's a method to the madness. I've known you for a long time, man. I know there's a method to the madness.
But it was funny that it was it was like he was like a dog with a bone on the t-shirt thing. He just wouldn't let it go. So, but anyway, I ended up coming out to practice with them. Very first practice, I believe this was like Claremont or somewhere in that area, California.
Claremont, yes, it was.
And I'm with Chris and like Daryl and Sarah and Jeremy and I don't remember all the other people. Like, and it was
a lot of good people. Yeah, a lot of good folks. Yeah.
So, and it was my first practice. We're sitting in this little room playing practice chanter, and I had some of the music and I was playing along. And then Seumas, out of nowhere, I swear to God, this happened. I'm not lying. He must have been a metronome. It could have been a tuner, but it was a small piece of plastic like this size, and just fucking chucks it across the room. He's like, "I told you to stop fucking doing that," or whatever the fuck it was. He just throws the chanter at somebody, and we're like, "Oh, it's gonna be like that." Okay. Like, oh, okay.
But that's like the time, like I've had this conversation before, because like remember the time like I kicked over the chairs.
These are good stories, babe. These are good stories.
Oh, this is going in your book.
Like, like you remember the time I freaked out and kicked over the chairs? That had nothing to do with anybody playing, and like nobody did anything that egregious.
Right.
I was just like had to set the tone immediately.
Right. I don't think he did. I think he was genuinely angry.
Oh yeah,
It's just out of curiosity, Andy. Was I like that? Did I actually do? I did do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Baby, I've seen it.
Yeah. This was 2004, 2005. Yeah.
That was your first practice.
My very first practice.
Holy
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and you didn't scare me away. I was like, oh fuck, okay. But I've been to like high school bands and shit. I've had conductors throw music stands across the room. I've definitely dealt with that.
So thank you very much for bringing that up, Andy, because they're out there.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't that abnormal to me. It was just like, oh, okay, I'm paying attention now. So and nobody flinched. Everybody's just like Seumas being Seumas, whatever, you know. And but some people didn't love that kind of stuff. There's definitely people out there that didn't love.
Well, people get turned off by that very quickly. I found. I mean, like my pipe sergeant style is similar to where like I'll do something crazy and kick a chair over, throw something or whatever, bang my chanter on the table, just to like snap you out of complacency of practice, right? And don't get me wrong, sometimes I am genuinely angry. The vast majority of the time, I'm fairly dispassionate. And I'm just trying to correct behavior, right? Like I'm just like no, like fucking boom, and there's like, and I'm like, yeah, like fucking do it.
Like pay attention. Yeah, no, that was set a tone for sure. But I'm curious, Seumas, going back to those days, like JGC was only a year old at the time, maybe at most.
Here's the thing, man. You had a good house and bed and breakfast to come back to.
Absolutely. I mean, I still stayed with you or Chris or whoever we used to stay with back then. Man. Well, I spent a night at Seumas's house on more than one occasion, and it's crazy town. I mean, because the entire band would stay there, and there's like people all over the place.
We just
And
had this big home and just stayed there. But I took care of you, Andy.
Oh, it was
Always.
great.
I
It was
made
fantastic.
breakfast. I did the best by you because you guys you tolerated a lot. You really did. You really tolerated.
Oh, no,
a
it was
lot.
great. It was a
That
great
very
time.
much explains the story Daryl told me of when he lost his virginity to you.
To
That
me?
you were all just sleeping in the same place.
Oh my god. Yeah. So
That's just a spoon without underwear. That makes sense now.
So how did the JJC band form, and why were we considered the Island of Misfit Toys in the 2000s? That's what I want to know.
I guess when I came back. Okay, I guess when I came back from New York, a lot of great years there. The business, selling the company, and just had the James J. Coyne Memorial Schools, which eventually sold New York, Chicago, and I had in L.A. So I was quite big throughout the United States in what I was doing, and what I was doing for my father, more for my father than myself. I asked Norma, it'd be nice to close this, the best way we could by doing something in honor of my father. And he always loved pipe bands. He always liked the camaraderie. He always liked to get together and do things. And I said, well, the only thing I haven't done, even though Coyne Celtic Industries, which was really Coyne Celtic Imports before it became Industries and before I sold the company, it was my dad's dream. Everything was through my dad's. I want to do this with you, son. I would like to do this. And I carried, when he passed away in 92, I basically took my dad's dream and I went with it. I used to work in the film industry, the great shows like Cheers, Night Court, Family Ties, Moonlighting. I worked on all those sets and remastering shows. All the stuff you see back here is the stuff I pretty much did on the sets, and that was a great end. That was my degree and where I took my career, and I knew people to get in. And that was a really good part of my life. And when my father passed away, and this is something my mother told me that he wanted to do, I pretty much did that. So at that time, Norm and I were just young. We were a couple of years into marriage, and, hey, the only way we're really going to take off with this, and my dad's import business, is to basically go back east, because that's the capital of the world of piping and drumming, dancing, Irish dancing, everything. Maybe take a chance and leave LA and let's go to New York, and do this. And that's what I did. I started with nothing, mate. I started with my own money. And I catapulted into a big storefront in a few years, and I was in a 10,000 plus square foot storefront, like Macy's department store, with the school underneath. So I had a tri-level, basically an office, the store, and then down below was the school. And I catered to the Emerald Society pipe bands, the NYPD, FDNY, all the guys who used to come to the store and go downstairs to practice. They had the code to get in so they can practice. I have the coffee maker there and all that stuff. And I really catered to them guys. I really took care of them. They really had a good time while I was there. And I really opened it up to anyone.
Well, a lot of those kinds of bands need the fucking space. They need the space. They need the catering, and a little bit of instruction here and there is not hurtful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right, Josh. It was a little bit of that, and the fact that I had the place that Norman and I finally expanded to go into was where we could have back doors where people can go in and go right to the school, but the store was closed. And they can practice where they didn't have to go home and disturb the wife or the girlfriend, or and say, hey, I could practice here. And it was really cool. It was kind of like the Cheers of New York. Of course, the store was next to a bar, which was actually pretty cool. And it was, considered the Cheers of Boston. You go from next door, Coyne Celtic Imports, into the bar. And it was, it was a great moment for all the cops and fire department guys and anyone else that came in. They can go to the store and go right next door. And I had an account there so they can get what they want, buy lunches, buy all the stuff, have a couple beers.
And you never did the economic nightmare mistake of buying the bar next door. So that's great news.
Well, it was kind of close because.
Oh, I bet it was very close.
The thing is that the place that we were in was like an old style place. It was really, really, really cool place. And it was like the buildings like in East Coast end, how they come across the corner of all bricks. It's kind of like Cheers, but all the stores were within the space of where the bar was at the time, the Beachmont Tavern, and and it was a great place, and Seum-bone became the norm when you walked in.
Of course you did.
Everyone that would come into the store, into the bar, know exactly where they're coming from. Know there were cops and firemen, and Seamus walk in, and we have a blast. It was a great time, and it was a great tavern, a freaking great tavern. And a lot of the guys behind the bar were retired cops. So, so it was a point where the owners were asked that we would like to buy the complex, the whole block, with a few of us that had a good the business side. And it was actually Josh going in that direction if they decided, because they were retired, they were living in Florida.
Yeah.
The son was taking care of the management of the real estate. But the Beachmont Tavern, Coyne Celtic Imports, and the business next to me were willing to go in halves and buy this complex, which had the fire department in with that too. The fire department, New Rochelle Fire Department, was in that big complex and all that. So they always used to come into the store. They love pipes and love it. Some of them were pipers, and they'd go to the tavern. So I was well taken care of. So anything would happen to fucking Coyne Celtic Imports, I got New Rochelle Fire Department right next door. I had no problems there. They were right there. They were going to buy this huge all the way around the corner, Andy, all the way to a certain point. That we were going to do that and buy the properties. And when I decided to go back to LA, Norma did go back for personal reasons of her parents and whatnot, health-wise. It was time to sell the business, and at that time I thought about that, and so I just sold the company and didn't really buy into the real estate. But it turned out that the people that owned that huge real estate market in that corner didn't want to sell yet, even though we were going to give them a pretty good dollar for it. So with the three of us involved. But it was really, really beautiful, guys. It was, great times. The cops can come in. I mean, anyone that would go into CCI, think you're going to rob the place, you're fucking sadly mistaken. You don't know who's in there. And I had cops up my ass, and and anyone that was part of the Southern District of New York. All those guys were in my shop buying stuff, having a good time. Cops that came in, attorneys that came in and bought imports. You got to be a stupid motherfucker to come into my store. Think you're gonna rob me? I don't think so. It ain't gonna happen. So the girls and all that were taken care of. I mean, we had a onslaught of 40 employees. We took care of all of them. We really built my dad's dream into bigger than it was. And it just is at a point my Norma sat down with me, and she obviously said, this is something that's beautiful for your father. This is something you and your dad wanted to do, and I'm sure your dad's looking down on what you have done. But this is something that I really don't want to do, and I want to do other things in my life. And I really couldn't run the business without her. She was a good vice president, guys. She was a very good person to control the employees, the control of the business, the corporation, and all that. Well, I just brought in the sales guys. I brought in the sales, brought in the clientele. I was good at what I do, Andy, right? Guys, I did what I could do best, and that's what Norma put me in. It wasn't just the president and CEO of the company, but just something I knew I could do. And she and the girls. I mean, I hired more females in that establishment than males, and they knew how to
pay
run
the women.
The
Absolutely.
business, man. They were tight with Norma. They knew how to handle the phones. At the time, the internet was basically AOL.com, the AOL side. We were just starting to get into the internet business back then. The dial-up tone. We had a really good personnel. So most of our staff at the time was basically, would say, about 45 to 50% female.
Yeah, you don't have to convince me, man. Like my girlfriend has been bringing home the bacon forever. She makes significantly more money than I do.
Well, it's not hard when you make nothing.
Hey, fuck you.
Yeah, that's good, Andy. That's what I felt like sometimes. So I didn't feel like the boss.
Is that her skill or your unskill?
I'm not entirely sure, but so you sold the business. You moved out. You started the James J. Coyne Memorial Pipe Band, which I will say was the
only thing to do was to close it out with my dad's name on something. That was the way to close it. And I talked to Norma about doing that, and she was okay with it. She said, fine, because I wanted to really get her involved. I didn't want to do something that's, oh God, what are we doing now? I just wanted to close it when I moved back to LA.
Well, I remember distinctly being a fairly young lad at the time. I was probably like 15, 16 years old. And like this guy that I didn't really like that was in my pipe band went to go play with a different band instead of us. And then I went and saw the band play. I think the first time I saw you guys play was probably like Costa or Queen Mary. It might have been Queen Mary.
Queen Mary, I think.
And I saw you guys play, and I was like, fuck, that's a fucking good band. Like,
so would you say, Josh, I was the band you were pissed off at? I was the fucking band.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, he would definitely, absolutely 100%.
I was like, hey, like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? We don't have a lot of players. Like, one of our players is going to play with this other band. I was going to go over and like give Fusco what for, because we weren't really like tight at the time. This was before we were friends.
But I got a ton of shit for it from you, Graham,
and then like I was probably closer with Graham, and then I just like jumped on the bandwagon of like fucking on Andy for.
Graham was pissed, so you were pissed.
and then I was like, I went and watched the band play, like tune up and then play performance, and I remember talking to Graham afterwards. I was like, it's fucking good band.
And Graham would never ever say it. But
yeah,
he knew it. He just wouldn't say
it.
I
was like, holy shit, like that sounded really fucking good.
But
what I was doing, Josh, I was taking care of Andy, and he would tell you that.
I think that might have been your first time out. Was when I think the first time you guys were out was the Queen Mary I saw you,
something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around then. And I was just like, holy fucking shit.
Oh,
and then I'm looking back at like my band tuning up in the corner. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, like to go from like grade 4 to grade 2, and not even just the quality, but like the style of level of music that you play.
I remember like all the shit you were going through, like swapping stuff out, like having to maintain.
Because I was trying to play in both.
Having trying to like maintain a set that was like for your competition band, not your home practice band.
Right. Oh, it was a pain in the ass. I don't recommend it, but
yeah,
it was quite fun. Like from experiential
and all the music
learning.
You had to learn, Andy. It was remarkable because there was a repertoire you had to say, man. There was like a Rolodex of music.
Oh my God.
There was no fucking just play an MSR and a couple of light
I went
sets.
from
You
playing
like one quick march medley and some mass band tunes.
No. Even back then, it was all like it was like a march medley. It wasn't a. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was like a march. It was like a march medley and mass
marches band. And maybe you had a medley, but it was like it wasn't quite the MSM that they have today, but it was very basic like that. And then to go to full on 2 MSRs, 2 medleys, because Seamus is a lunatic. And at grade 2, we didn't have to do that, but he insisted.
Well, you don't have to do it here.
Even over there,
you don't have to do it over there. Yeah.
So like, but his idea was we're a grade 2 band with a grade 1 mentality, which is a wonderful thing that I brought back to my band, which did not work. But I love the idea of it. He said it all the time. We're a grade 2 band with a grade 1 mentality. We have 2 MSRs, 2 medleys. I don't give a fuck. Learn it. So when I first came in 2004, 2005, we had I think it was 81 tunes. And you used to say it all the time. You're like,
that's right, baby.
Everyone's learning 81 tunes. We had a full concert set. We never played a concert in our lives. We had 81 tunes to learn. I'm like,
oh my God, can I get producers' rights on the James J. Coyne Memorial Pipe Band reunion concert?
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
I will produce the fuck out of that.
Can you imagine? Like even
just because I get to listen.
You'd be beautiful for it, Josh. You'd be the man, man.
Dude.
You'd be the man. But yeah, it was a big repertoire,
Dude,
but I demanded
huge.
a lot, Andy.
He absolutely did. And there was no mercy. He would call, and this is what's amazing about Seamus, and I don't have this ability at all because I am not social. He is very social. He would call all of his players all the time, and just chat on the phone, hey, how's the music going? And then just bullshit about life. Everybody, the drummers, whether you liked it or not, he would call you. And I don't do that at all. I have no interest in anybody's lives. I mean, my friends maybe, but he would do that, call me about once a week, how's it going? And I'd go there once a month.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, you're there once a month, plus contests.
Well, that's a thing, because a lot of I have a lot of my friends that live up north in the northern part of the state. I make sure I call every single one of my friends at least once a week.
Right. I don't know how you guys do it.
But
it doesn't take long. I mean, especially I do it when I'm driving or whatever.
Josh, to defend Andy and I, because it was a family. It was because I cared about my mates and my sisters and brothers in the band, and I made it a point because that was part of what I was brought up to do. And if I couldn't do that, then I wouldn't have a pipe band. That was my dad's ethics, and I rolled that into everyone's life. And I meant it. And when I told Andy about that, I'm sure there was a part in his head that said, "Well, that's pretty cool." But the fact that he went through it, and I stood by my words.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I did that.
100%.
You know,
But
that,
this is interesting.
I did care. You know, I did care, and we did open our house. It was like a bed and breakfast. Norman and I didn't. Norman didn't have to do all that. Just to bring in people like that. It was fun. We had good dinners, good lunches, but it brought a big family. Not just the band, Andy, right? It was not just the band. It was just a family unity of people getting along, sitting around, chatting about things, and it really didn't have anything to do with the band.
We all got along really quite well, considering, but also, like, it's remarkable. Like, Seumas, like, okay, let's take our band, for example, right? When somebody comes in town and it helps us, we can't get a single fucking person to offer their place to stay, right? There was no choice. Like, Seumas did not allow the option. Like, somebody put this motherfucker up. I don't give a fuck. Make it happen. So I always had a place to stay. Never paid for a hotel in my life. Like, you always had a place to stay, and that's how pipe bands were run back.
I'm incredibly interested in dissecting some of this because we talked about early on how during this very developmental period of your piping, Seumas was a huge influence.
Huge, yes, huge.
So, do you think that you may have gotten like 30% of the lesson, and there's like 70% of just like calling people once a week, all the bullshit that you don't really want to do? Mm-hmm. Like, do you think that would make the difference? Is that where
difference in what way?
Just in like, I mean, come on, everybody loves Seum-bone.
True, but Seumas has got his enemies. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but.
Oh yeah, I know how to piss off some people.
But do you think that like is that what's missing? Is that the secret sauce?
You tell it, baby. You tell it, man. I'm gonna sit back and
is the secret sauce that's missing in your band is that you're white vision and not vision. Like you're not 100% of Seumas.
Correct. I am definitely not. Like I've argued this many times, and I'm sure I've said this on the show, where I would be a better pipe sergeant than I would be a pipe major.
I could see that.
In the sense that I am a really good right-hand man because I am all about getting the job done, like mission mode. That's how I think.
I refuse to trade.
No. You're not the right guy. But
I refuse to trade my job. It's a good job.
But I do respect the fact that Seumas was incredibly social and would keep, almost to a fault, keep in contact with everybody. But it also brought people in and made you feel welcome. Even when he was threatening to throw you off the Queen Mary, still knew he was like your brother.
He would make an incredible cult leader.
Yes, exactly correct. Seumas's cult. That's exactly it. Like there's so many great fucking stories of Seumas threatening us, and we just nobody really got that upset about it unless the later crew, like back in like 2009, like the last before it all closed down. Some of the people that were brought in were a little more sensitive than others. Than the ones that grew up under Seumas, if you will. Yeah. So, but you're right. The emotional intelligence of Seumas versus me is totally opposite, right? I don't have that at all. Like that's not my thing. I am all about getting the job done. Where he is all about, he's getting the job done, but also tell me all about your life at all times. Which I don't.
You got to consider that as a function of getting the job done.
I agree, but it's just
not the same. It's the same thing. Like when we've talked about Uncle Jack before. Mm-hmm. It's a very similar. Like everybody loves and like listens to, but two very different approaches, and yet similar outcome.
Yeah, but Uncle Jack will tell he asks a million questions. He wants to know all about you. Like if you spend any time, even one-on-one or a couple people on one, when we go out for beers
afterwards.
That's
why I gave him a fake name. As far as he knows, my name is Sergio Medina.
He wants to know all about I wonder if that's where Seumas gets it from.
Guys, when I disappear to the Baltics, I'm gone.
Wow, you just opened the box, baby.
I put my foot in that bear trap knowing you would open it up, bro.
but that's true.
Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead, man.
No, I'm just thinking like Jack's similar, at least in his experience with teaching our band, is he's very interested in everybody's story, right?
True.
He asks a lot of questions and he seems genuinely interested. Whether it's a show or not, I don't know, but I assume it's true. But I wonder if that's part of where Seumas gets it from, learning from Uncle Jack, the big brother, and maybe it was just influential when he was a kid and Jack was like that. I don't know, but Like,
Bro, I just think it's a part of our soul that is missing.
that's what I think. Because what I brought back from Seumas's band when I learned under Seumas was fucking hard work and get the job done.
Yeah.
Like none of the like social stuff, because that was not my thing. Other than my friends. But even then, like, God damn it, why? Like, I would come at it like, and you're right. Maybe now that I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking about it, maybe you're right. Because I would come at people hard, like, this isn't done. Why isn't this done? Because that's how Seumas was. But I was not calling them afterwards, being like, hey man, how's your life treating you? Like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, man. The difference is because I cared. Because the thing is, Josh, to answer to Andy's question, if I can interject there, because
Please do.
I love when Andy talks about it, because I want people to hear from them. It's not because of my point of view. Is that I truly did care about the players. I did love them. I did want the best for them, you know. And if you're taking the time and sacrifice to do it, I want you to be a part of it, you know. And I want to know about you. I want to know how you're doing. And that's what brought about the tightness of the family unity of JGCs, because that did happen. And, you know, I think that's important. I think you can't have a pipe band if you didn't have that. To me, there wasn't a band.
Right.
And, you know, you can have a bunch of players go do their thing, go home, and go back to work on Monday. Whereas I want, you know, me personally, I want to know how you're doing. I want to know that your life is okay. I want to make it a point. And on a serious level.
No,
you know,
I absolutely agree.
You know, I want to know how you're doing, because that affects what you do for me and the band in the future. And if there's something wrong, I want to be there for you. I may not understand it, but I want to know about it. It's not just you get the music down, have your pipes ready to go. No excuses. Remember the words,
no
two
excuse.
E's, right?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Andy. What was it?
No excuses, no exceptions.
Yeah. It wasn't.
That was a mantra.
There was always the two
Episode
E's.
title done.
Yeah, dial it in, man. Those two E's were always at the band practices and band weekends. But outside of that, I took the two E's to one side, and I got into people's lives, Josh. I wanted to know that they were doing well. And I just didn't do it because I was Dr. Frazier online to say, hey, what's your problem? I wanted to know that you are doing okay, and I want to know that you're fine. And I genuinely meant that. It wasn't just the things that you had to do in a band, what was expected of you, but that's what brought people even closer. And right, Andy, you could test a lot of people, who you ever talked to in JGC, is I did care. I made it a point.
Mm-hmm.
I made it a point.
Right. No, you definitely did.
That's what counts, guys. Because you can't have all the others without someone that really cares, because it's just a drill sergeant just throwing things at you and that's it.
Right.
Yes, I did that, but I did beyond that.
Correct.
And that was me. That was me, and I would never change that. You know?
Seumas, here's a good example. So one of the people in our chat, people that are watching live, you remember Matt Biggs, of course. One of the drummers, and Seumas even did this to drummers, the lowly drummers that nobody cares about. Matt says this. He says, Seumas made me call him when I got home from rehearsal after driving through the night and getting home at like 3 a.m. because Matt lived in Utah. He would drive to Southern California for rehearsal over the weekend. And then and he was like, call me when you, Seumas was always like, call me when you get home. Let me know you're home. Like, he did the same to me. He did everybody, all the out-of-towners. There was quite a few of us. That's exactly who Seumas is. Like, call me when you get home. I want to know. I don't care what time it is. Call me. Let me know you're home. I don't know.
And I
maybe that works.
It's exactly what I did. It's because I cared. You're my mates. You're my family. I want to make sure you get back okay.
Right.
You know, it makes me feel good. The fact that you did get home okay, because you did come all the way out there. You had a great practice, a good exhaustion. I want to make sure you get home safely.
Yeah. Seumas was all about sweating, and I don't know why. He loved a good sweat.
Sweating is important.
He liked a good sweat. Hey, you got a good sweat on this weekend, right?
If you're not sweating, you're not doing it.
Remember all this stuff. Hey, the one thing I did, Josh, I would remember that. The one thing I told Norma, and most bands don't follow this, and Andy can contest it because he was there to see it all. I made it a point where this is the only band that you get to come in and practice and get paid to practice and go home and do your business, because I paid for everything. Norma and I sacrificed for the band, not pay for uniforms that people couldn't buy. I paid for the lunches, the dinners, and everything we could do. I paid for it, right, Andy? And all you had to do is go home and do your homework. So you were getting paid to come into the practices, in a sense, to have stuff down, and don't let me down because I know you can do it, and I'll take care of your ride. I will take care of you, and you just play music and enjoy the ride. Because I didn't believe in doing parades.
Right. I never did a parade.
I didn't doing all that other stuff. I wanted you to learn the music. I wanted you to understand how to play your bagpipe better. That's what it was all about. So I didn't care. So Norman and I foot that bill for a long time. And a lot of people contest and say, hey, I've never been in a band that not only does love you and cares about you, but it's fair. I feel like I'm going home and getting paid to practice because I got to get ready because I don't have to do anything else. That's what I wanted, Josh. That's what I wanted from every player that came into the band because I foot the bill. I wanted everyone to work hard and practice the right way, sweat it out, have your water bottle, have your sweat towel, but you still go to work, still do what you're doing. You don't have to do extra things because I'm paying for that. I want you to come in and play the music well, have a good time, play strong, and go home with good exhaustion.
Pay in blood, pay in sweat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting. There was no doubt.
So we by no means need to end the live stream. We can keep that going. We can hang out with the audience, do whatever. The audio recording version, we do have to close out because we're just at that threshold where it's going to be long. I would like to go around the room and kind of on the topic of pipe band as family, starting with Fusco. You want to do you first, me first, but Seumas has to be last. We know this.
You go first.
I
always go first.
Okay. So on the subject of pipe band as family, I have grown up in a pipe band. It was an incredible part of my life. I enjoy it and regret it simultaneously every day. But yeah, I wouldn't trade these people for anything in the world. And more importantly, I think it's just like, think about it as your family. It's not the people you get to choose sometimes, Mm-hmm. I always call my friends the family I choose. But yeah, it's a weird brotherhood. It's a weird thing that you go into. And I don't know. Sometimes I've been great about checking up on everyone, and sometimes I haven't. Mm-hmm. But it's something to continuously work on.
That's why we have Tyree in the band.
Yeah, well. But yeah, Sco, what are your thoughts,
man?
Man?
The honor right there. Yep.
My thoughts are this. You're right. Your family is your family, and your friends are the family you choose. And pipe band is somewhere in the middle. And very often, many of the pipe banders I've had the pleasure of playing with over the years have become brothers and or sisters just through pain. Through the pain of living through Seumas, I have many brothers and sisters. Of course, Daryl and Hoineke are the most current and consistent, but there's quite a few beyond those two. And
sorry, Andy.
No, it's okay.
You're doing good, man.
And even Las Vegas pipe band guys, or whatever we were at the time. Yourself, Josh, of course, Graham, Danny, Eric Pileski.
Yeah, Pileski.
Like some of my favorite people, and
Tyree, Daniela, Billy.
Yeah, like Cahill. Cahill, one of my favorite people on earth, is
Pileski,
who I met at a pipe school. It's just people who were brought together by this similar appreciation of this crazy goddamn instrument. And I absolutely agree that once you're in this life, like some people get out, but for the most part, every time I try to get out, they drag me back in. But I don't think I'd ever leave. I love it too much. I love the music too much, and I really just want the best for our local organization as well as others that perform this thing. And I guess the final thing I'd say is I'd like to thank Seumas directly, personally, and professionally as one of the more significant influences, at least in me getting my shit together. Let's put it that way. I'm not that great piper, and I'll never be Seumas Coyne, the technician, as we used to call him, Fingers McBone.
The Seum-bone.
The Seum-bone. This guy's got fingers like you wouldn't fucking believe. Let me tell you, I've experienced that personally in the deep, dark recesses of the night at Seumas' house.
Please tell me he didn't finger you.
Well, he figured something.
Oh,
I don't know.
I love it. Andy,
But thanks,
beautiful,
Seamus,
man.
for
Yes,
being you, because you are quite the character, and it's awesome to be under your wing, if you will. But
Well, there's no way we don't have him back because we barely scratched the surface of
so
the shit that
much.
we had. But Seamus, if you'd be so kind, pipe in his family, your final thoughts, brother, and that's going to close us out.
Yeah, sure. I say, guys, what you're doing is really a beautiful thing. It's aside from the aesthetics and the funniness and the Carlo remarks that you guys put out there. I mean, you're a good team. It's nice that you do that. And I enjoyed doing helping Andy quite a lot. He was part of the family. He'll always be part of the family. And I've always made it a mission in my life, to teach people and to do their best and to push them as hard as they could be pushed, and to know that they should believe in themselves, know that they can do it, as opposed to thinking that they can't. And I was a person to drive that more than most, and be more of a coach as opposed to an instructor. And and enjoy what you want to do, since you want to play pipes, you want to do well with it. Let me take it down the path, but at the same time, as you're going down the path, enjoy what you can do and what you believe that you can do, and make that part of what you're doing. And that's the point. It's not just being a great clinician or a great musical player and being one of the finest in the world. This is what you can do to touch other people's soul, to do things that they think they can't do. And I've done it a long time, close to 40 years of teaching guys. Whether it was in my dad's garage in '82 to where it is now, and then a little before that. I learned a lot by teaching quite a few people in my life. And, I'd like to make sure that they do the best that they can possibly do. And that's why I do this, guys. I don't do it because I need to do it. I come out with music because I love doing it. My explorations of what I've done in the last couple of months, Andrew, as you've been seeing on my site, is that I'm trying to, culminate a lot of players that are sitting around, but probably not playing pipes as much as they could. And I kind of want to just pay it forward. It's honestly what I'm doing, is paying it forward, and say, guys, it's not just the Jack Lee and Bruce Gandys and Seumas Coynes out there just doing recordings and just playing their pipes because we want to play them and all that. I have a lot of good brotherhood of people out there that, hey, please, I'm not going to be the only one playing pipes. Let's do something. My course of what I put on my site, the Seumas Citadel, which you've seen out there, is to take the finest players in the world, to play a few tunes and entertain the world. Right. Seriously, forget about the World Solos and the Pipe Band Championship. Just entertain the world and play a few tunes and have fun doing it.
Right.
And and I talked to Norma about that, and she thought it was a great idea. And so far, guys, I've been influxed with a lot of emails and messengers of, Seamus, great thing, man. This is pretty cool what you're doing and how you're putting it together. And because I don't want to be the only one out there sweating out and just doing what I do best and what I'm putting together and what I like doing. I kind of like to have a brotherhood and sisterhood of people to go out and, why don't you help us, guys? Don't just sit around and just watch what we're doing until such time as we do come back to normal. Right. So that's basically why I'm doing all this. And I'm enjoying it. And I think what you guys are doing is great on your show. You guys are fantastic characters. You're meant to be together. I mean, if we talk about the odd couple of the 21st century, you two would be definitely it. That's great. It's just that I like what you're doing and the passion you have, Andy, and the same with you, Josh. It's really cool. It's really good, and I sincerely mean that.
Thanks,
we don't say a lot in life, but I'm going to come out and tell you. It's just I like. It's fun. It might not be for some. But you do love it, and you do it, and
it's not for everybody.
Support you. And,
just like pipes.
And it's good that you guys keep it going. That's the bottom line, and I really respect you guys for doing that, and I love you both.
Thank you very much.
I know you've had a lot of Seamus in your life, and and I appreciate your thoughts, your stories, And
I mean, I've had about 5 inches less of Seumas. So
Oh, I've gotten it all. I've got all the Seumas. But Seumas, do me a favor to close this out. You wrote a great tune, and I just want you to play it for us. The Stuart Little tune that you wrote for Piping Hot Summer Drummer.
Oh God.
Oh, you know it. This is classic. The people here are big fans of Stuart Little. We've had him on the show, but it's a great tune. Have you ever heard the Stuart Little
I
tune?
have not heard the tune.
This is
Well, why don't you tell me the story? I mean, I apologize. I haven't. Since I played that, Andy.
Yeah.
Since I played that, and it became his tune.
right.
The story behind that, I don't know if you knew the story, but the story behind that was basically a tune that Seumas crazily has written, but no title to it.
Right.
And I approached Steve McWhorter, and we're just kind of chilling out, piping hot. It was during that time in 2016. And he says, "Do you have a title for this?" And I said, "No, I don't, Steve. I just kind of play it because it's a cool thing. It's funny, and it's just kind of Seumas Coyne doing his deed.
Yeah.
Why don't we call it, Liddell's Fancy?"
Right.
And I didn't think of it at the time. Honestly, Andy, I didn't think of it. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we just kind of talked about it. He says, "Well, why don't we do that? Because that's something you would love to play." And I said, Steve, hey, fair enough. That's what it is. And he looked at me and I go, "No, seriously, if that's the title you want on it, let's do it." And since then, I kind of rolled it to start taking it over and doing his deed with it. Sure. And as much as I did a lot with it before that, I've deliberately have not recorded that, Andy, on my tunes that I put on my site and all that, because
you got to take
he's
credit
done
for
a good job with it, and I kind of let Stuart take the story and go with it and roll with it and put his taste to it and do what he wants with it, that I have deliberately not put. Seumas, have you ever thought about putting Liddell's Fancy out there? Well, okay, it was done at Piping Hot. It was started with everything. But I said, well, I like Stuart took it over and he did his deed with it, and I kind of left it there. But people have asked me, "Would you do it?"
Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Let's make it official.
Yeah, this is how we're gonna play ourselves out of the audio recording.
Correct. Go ahead, play it for us, Seumas, because it's pretty fun. It's really fun.
Because you're gonna have to do me a favor and make sure that I know where to cut when I'm doing the audio, and then the live stream we can let run.
Yeah, well, it'll be right after this. Go ahead, Seumas. Go play this for us. It's all you.
God. Okay, guys.
It's a great tune. It is
superb. Bit of a polka feel.
It's very it's so like oddball, which is great.
All right, guys, and on that note, I'm going to go ahead and play us out.